Raymond's voice sliced through the mahogany door. Emily froze. Her hand, still wearing the 3-carat Tiffany ring, hovered inches from the private lounge entrance. Inside, 200 guests laughed and toasted. "The acquisition closes tomorrow." Raymond's voice, smooth, confident. 48 patents, including the breakthrough. A pause. "And she signed?" Mark's voice carried a note of disbelief. Raymond's laugh, low and easy. "She doesn't know yet. Marriage makes the transfer automatic. Community property law does the heavy lifting." Emily's chest tightened. "You're actually going through with the wedding?" "Tomorrow, 4 p.m. A beat of silence. "Then her IP becomes our IP. 6 months later, quiet divorce. She keeps the house in Carmel. I keep what matters." "What if she fights?" "She won't." Raymond's voice dropped. "She thinks this is real." Emily's champagne glass slipped. It shattered against marble, and in that sharp, echoing crack, the sound of 200 heads turning toward the door, her entire life broke open. If this story already pulled you in, don't watch the rest like a stranger. Hit subscribe so you're part of this family. It genuinely helps this channel survive. And tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love seeing how far these stories travel. Emily Davis had built her entire adult life on precision. MIT PhD at 28, 48 renewable energy patents before 32. A career built on precision, designing energy systems that powered cities and changed industries. She'd believed love could be equally measurable. 3 years of compatibility, shared values in sustainability and innovation, a partner who listened when she explained her research at 2 a.m. with equations scribbled on napkins. She'd been catastrophically wrong. The man she was supposed to marry in 16 hours had never loved her. He'd targeted her. Raymond Cohen, venture capitalist and predator, had spent 3 years performing devotion while constructing an elaborate legal trap to steal the work that defined her. Not content to simply break her heart, he planned to erase her name from her own creations, to reduce Dr. Emily Davis to a footnote in someone else's success story, to consummate their marriage not out of desire, but as the final signature on a theft contract. And she'd handed him everything: access to her laboratory files, conversations about her upcoming patent applications, trust. Standing in the Fairmont hallway with champagne soaking into her Louboutins and her rehearsal dinner still laughing 30 feet away, Emily felt something shift beneath her shock. Not just grief, though that would come. Not just rage, though that was building like a chemical reaction approaching critical temperature. Clarity. Raymond had made one fatal miscalculation. He'd assumed that because Emily saw the best in people, she was weak. He'd confused optimism with fragility, openness with stupidity. He'd treated her like an acquisition instead of a rival. That was going to cost him everything. Emily's vision blurred as she stumbled off the elevator. Her wedding veil dragged behind her like a funeral shroud. She'd meant to go to Suite 4010, her bridal suite, where her maid of honor was probably panicking right now. But the champagne wasn't right. 3 glasses, maybe 4. Her tongue felt thick. The hallway lights bled into halos. Her limbs moved underwater. Something was in that champagne. The numbers on the doors swam. 4008, 4009. She fumbled with her keycard and swiped it against 4012. Green light. Click. Wrong room. But her body didn't care anymore. She stumbled inside. Let the door slam shut. The suite was dark except for amber light from floor-to-ceiling windows. San Francisco glittered 40 stories below. Expensive furniture, masculine scent, sandalwood, and danger. This definitely wasn't her room. Her knees buckled. She caught herself against a leather sofa, and that's when she heard it. "You're not housekeeping." Emily's heart stopped. A man sat in the shadows near the window, so still she'd missed him completely. Asian, late 30s. shirtless, and covered in tattoos. Intricate ink sprawled across his chest and left arm. The kind of tattoos that screamed organized crime in a language her MIT brain didn't need to translate. He held a glass of whiskey, completely relaxed, like women in wedding veils broke into his suite every night. Emily's words tangled. Wrong room. Sorry. She turned toward the door. The floor tilted violently. She would have hit the ground, but he moved faster than should have been possible. His hands caught her waist. She looked up into a face that was beautiful, the way knives were beautiful, all sharp lines and controlled violence. His eyes were black, and they studied her like she was a problem he was deciding how to solve. You're drugged, not a question. The champagne, Emily whispered. Something was wrong with it. Who drugged you? His grip tightened. Your fiancé? The word fiancé shattered something inside her chest. Fresh tears burned. How did you? He gestured at her veil. His face showed nothing. Context clues. Despite everything, the spinning room, her breaking heart, her failing body, Emily almost laughed. This tattooed stranger with his whiskey and his brutal calm was the first honest thing she'd encountered all night. He's not... She couldn't finish. Raymond wasn't her fiancé anymore, had never really been. Raymond, she managed. Raymond Cohen. The man's expression shifted. Not surprise, recognition, dark and complicated and dangerous. Is that so? He guided her to the sofa like she was something breakable and explosive at the same time. Then we have a great deal to discuss, Dr. Davis. Wait. He knew her name. I'm Choi Jun-young. He paused. His thumb traced a pattern against her hip that cut through the fog in her brain. I'm Raymond's brother. Emily's shattered world splintered into 1,000 new pieces. Brother. Raymond had a brother. The last thing she registered before darkness swallowed her was his smile. Cold, beautiful, promising absolutely nothing good. And you, he murmured, as she fell against his chest, just became very, very interesting. Emily woke up in a bed that wasn't hers. Silk sheets, unfamiliar weight, the San Francisco dawn bleeding gold through floor-to-ceiling windows. She was still wearing her wedding veil, and nothing else. Panic hit like ice water. She sat up, clutching the sheet to her chest. Her head pounded. Her mouth tasted like chemicals and regret. The tattooed man from last night sat across the room in a leather chair. Fully dressed now, black suit, no tie, watching her with those dark, unreadable eyes. We didn't. His voice cut through her rising panic. You passed out. I put you in the bed. Emily's throat closed. Then why am I... Your dress had a zipper malfunction. And 12 layers. He gestured to the Vera Wang gown, draped over a chair like a ghost. I'm not a monster, Der Davis. Just efficient. She should have felt relieved. Instead, she felt something more complicated. This stranger had undressed her while she was unconscious, put her to bed, and somehow that felt more intimate than if he'd actually touched her. You said you're Raymond's brother. Half-brother. Jun-young stood, moving to the windows. Our father, Michael Cohen, had a first marriage in Seoul before he built his venture capital empire in California. My mother was Korean. Raymond's is American old money. He said it without emotion, like he was describing a stock portfolio. Michael abandoned us when I was 8, took his American citizenship and his new pregnant wife back to San Francisco, left my mother with nothing. Emily's scientist brain cataloged the facts. Raymond never mentioned you. Raymond doesn't know I exist. Jun-young's smile was sharp. Michael paid my mother to disappear, to never contact him, to erase the Korean son who didn't fit his new American life. Then how do you know about Raymond? He turned from the window. I've been watching the Cohen family for 20 years, building my own empire in the spaces Michael pretends don't exist. Tech acquisitions, corporate espionage, The kind of business that doesn't make it into Forbes profiles. The tattoos made sense now. The dangerous stillness, the suite that screamed money and violence in equal measure. "You're Yakuza," Emily whispered. "Korean Mafia. Different organization, same principles." He moved closer. "And I've been waiting for the perfect moment to destroy my father's legacy. Watching Raymond build his career on Daddy's connections. Watching him play venture capitalist with money he never earned." Emily's head spun, and not just from the drugs. "What does this have to do with me?" Junyoung stopped at the edge of the bed, close enough that she could see the ink on his chest through his open collar. Dragons and chrysanthemums, beautiful and deadly. "I had surveillance on Raymond," he said simply. "Business intelligence. I heard what he said about you last night. The Davis acquisition, the intellectual property theft disguised as marriage." The words hit like a physical blow. Someone else knew, someone who wasn't supposed to exist. "I'm sorry," Emily managed, "but I don't understand why you're telling me this." "Because Raymond made a mistake." Junyoung's eyes locked on hers. "He treated you like a transaction, but you're not property, Dr. Davis. You're a weapon." "What?" 48 patents in renewable energy, an MIT doctorate, research that could revolutionize an entire industry. He leaned forward slightly. "And a very public betrayal by the Cohen family's golden boy." Emily's breath caught. She saw where this was going. "Marry me instead." The words hung in the air like smoke from a gun. "You're insane," Emily whispered. "I'm strategic." Junyoung didn't blink. "You want revenge. I want to destroy my father's legacy. Raymond is the intersection of both goals." "You don't even know me." "I know you're brilliant. I know you were drugged at your own rehearsal dinner. I know Raymond spent 3 years stealing your work while making you believe in fairy tales." His voice dropped. "And I know you didn't come to my suite by accident. That was the drugs. The drugs brought you to the 40th floor. But you swiped your keycard on 4012. Suite 4010 was 2 doors down." Emily's mind raced back. The blurred hallway, the numbers swimming. Had she chosen his door? "I'll give you everything you need to reclaim your patents," Junyoung continued. "Legal teams, technical experts, protection from Raymond's retaliation, and in exchange, you help me take down the Cohen empire from the inside. By marrying you, by appearing at your own wedding ceremony in a few hours and announcing you've married someone else, someone your fiancé never saw coming." His smile was cold mathematics. "The scandal alone will destroy Raymond's credibility. The legal battles will tie up his father's firm for years, and your patents stay exactly where they belong." Emily's heart hammered against her ribs. This was insane. Marrying a mafia boss she'd met 12 hours ago to destroy the man who'd betrayed her. "Why would you do this?" she asked. "Really?" Junyoung's expression shifted. For the first time, she saw something real beneath the calculated surface. Rage. Old and patient and absolutely devastating. "Because Michael Cohen threw away his first son like garbage," he said quietly. "And Raymond is his favorite creation, his legacy, his proof that the American dream works if you're willing to erase the inconvenient parts of your past." He stood, extended his hand. "So let's erase Raymond instead, together." Emily stared at his hand, at the tattoos crawling up his wrist, at the wedding that was supposed to start in 6 hours, at the choice between safety and revenge. She thought about Raymond's voice through the door, the Davis acquisition, like she was a company to be absorbed and dismantled. She thought about 3 years of lies, and she thought about the Vera Wang dress draped over the chair like a surrender flag. Emily took Junyoung's hand. His grip was warm and certain, and absolutely unforgiving. "I have one condition," she said. "Name it. When this is over, when Raymond's empire is ashes and my patents are secure." Emily met his dark eyes without flinching. "You let me walk away. No strings, No obligations, no mafia debt. Junyoung's smile was sharp enough to cut. Deal, Dr. Davis. He pulled her to her feet, still wrapped in his silk sheets. Now let's go ruin a wedding. Emily walked into her own wedding wearing black. Not white, not ivory, not any shade that whispered happily ever after. Black Valentino. Silk that moved like water and cost more than her first car. Junyoung had it delivered to his suite 2 hours ago, along with a team of stylists who didn't ask questions. The dress had a neckline that plunged to her sternum and a slit that went to her hip. It looked like revenge. She stood at the back of the Fairmont Ballroom. 200 guests filled the white chairs. Raymond waited at the altar in his Tom Ford tux, checking his watch, waiting for a bride who was about to destroy his entire life. Keisha spotted her first. Her maid of honor's face went from relief to confusion to absolute horror in 3 seconds flat. Emily met her eyes across the room, mouthed 2 words, "Trust me." Then she started walking, not down the aisle, along the side of the ballroom, toward the small stage where the string quartet had been playing Pachelbel's Canon on repeat for 20 minutes. Her heels clicked against marble like gunshots. Conversations died in waves as people noticed her. The black dress, the fury in her eyes, the absence of a smile. Raymond saw her. His expression shifted from annoyance to confusion. He had no idea what was coming. Emily took the microphone from the very surprised wedding coordinator and stepped onto the stage. 200 faces turned toward her. Raymond's father, Michael Cohen, sat in the front row, silver-haired and patrician, the venture capital king who'd built an empire on ruthless ambition, the man who'd abandoned his first son in Seoul 30 years ago. Emily's voice cut through the silence like glass. Thank you all for coming to celebrate what was supposed to be my wedding day. Raymond started moving toward her. His smile was tight, damage control mode. Emily, sweetheart, what are you? I'm not your sweetheart, Raymond. Her voice carried to every corner of the room. And I'm not your acquisition. Dead silence. Someone's phone hit the floor. Last night, I overheard Raymond on a phone call with his business partner, Mark. Emily looked directly at Raymond's father. He called our marriage the Davis acquisition, a transaction designed to transfer my 48 renewable energy patents into Cohen family ownership through post-nuptial asset restructuring. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Raymond's face went white. That's not... You're confused. I have recordings. Emily pulled out her phone. Junyoung's tech team had pulled them from the Fairmont security system 3 hours ago. Would you like me to play them, the part where you discuss minimal legal exposure? Or where you laugh about how I actually think you love my brilliant mind? Michael Cohen stood up. Raymond grabbed the stage edge. Emily, listen to me. No. Her voice was ice. You listen. I spent 3 years believing in you. Sharing my research. Building a future. And you spent 3 years building a theft operation disguised as romance. The ballroom erupted in whispers. Raymond's mother pressed a hand to her chest. His groomsmen looked at each other, clearly trying to figure out if this was real. It was very real. So I made a different choice. Emily smiled, sharp and beautiful and absolutely unforgiving. I got married this morning. The whispers became shouts. Raymond's face twisted. What? To someone who offered me something you never did, Raymond. Honesty. The ballroom doors opened. Junyoung walked in. Black suit, no tie. Tattoos visible at his collar and wrists. Moving through the crowd with the kind of quiet menace that made people instinctively step back. He looked like exactly what he was. Dangerous. Emily watched Michael Cohen's face drain of color. Oh, he recognized his first son, even after 30 years. Junyoung reached the stage, extended his hand to Emily. She took it and stepped down, their fingers interlacing like a declaration of war. "This is Choi Jun-young," Emily announced. "My husband, and Raymond's half-brother." The ballroom exploded. Chairs scraped. Voices overlapped. Someone was crying. Raymond's best man was on his phone, probably calling a lawyer. But Emily only watched two people. Raymond, whose perfect face had crumbled into rage and disbelief, and Michael Cohen, whose carefully constructed American dream was shattering in real time. Jun-young leaned close to Emily's ear. His voice was soft enough that only she could hear. "Now for the evidence." Emily handed him her phone. He connected it to the ballroom's AV system with 3 efficient movements. Raymond's voice filled the space. "The Davis acquisition closes tomorrow. 48 patents in renewable energy storage." Mark's voice. "And she has no clue you've already filed the provisional transfer agreements?" Raymond lunged for the stage. "Turn that off." Post-nuptial extraction is cleaner than a hostile takeover. By the time the divorce papers hit, I'll have majority IP ownership locked through the marriage asset clause. Emily watched Raymond's mother's face crumple, watched his father's jaw clench with barely controlled fury, watched her own parents in the third row, her father standing like he wanted to physically remove Raymond from the room. The best part? Emily thinks I'm in love with her brilliant mind. Raymond's laughter on the recording cut through the ballroom like a knife. Someone was definitely crying now. Multiple someones. Jun-young ended the playback. The silence that followed was devastating. Emily stepped forward one last time. "My legal team has already filed injunctions freezing all patent transfers involving my research. The SEC has been notified of potential fraud in Cohen Ventures' portfolio. And every woman Raymond has dated in the past 7 years received a call from my lawyers this morning." She paused. "Let that sink in." "Turns out I'm not the first Davis acquisition, just the first one who fought back." Raymond's face was purple. "You destroyed me." "No." Emily's smile was cold mathematics. "You destroyed yourself." "I just made sure everyone could see it." She turned to leave, Jun-young's hand firm in hers. Raymond grabbed her arm. His grip was bruising, desperate. "You'll regret this, both of you. Jun-young's hand closed around Raymond's wrist. He didn't squeeze, didn't have to. The threat in his eyes was crystal clear. "Touch my wife again," Jun-young said quietly, "and you'll discover what regret actually looks like." Raymond released her. Jun-young didn't release Raymond, not until the other man stepped back, hands up, face pale. Emily walked out of her own wedding with her Mafia husband's hand in hers and 200 witnesses to the Cohen family's complete destruction. The doors closed behind them. Jun-young pulled her into the empty hallway. His eyes met hers. "How does revenge taste, Dr. Davis?" Emily was shaking. Adrenaline and fury and something darker she didn't want to name. "Like the beginning," she whispered. "Good." Jun-young's thumb traced her cheekbone. "Because Raymond's about to learn what happens when you underestimate a woman with nothing left to lose." His phone buzzed. He glanced at it. His expression went cold. "What?" Emily asked. "Raymond's father just liquidated $10 million in assets." Jun-young's smile was sharp. "He's hiring someone to come after us." "Lawyers? Worse?" Emily's heart kicked. "What's worse than lawyers?" Jun-young looked at her with those dark, unreadable eyes. "People like me." Emily's entire life fit into 3 suitcases. She stood in the marble foyer of Jun-young's penthouse, watching his security team carry in what remained of her apartment. Everything else, the furniture she'd bought with Raymond, the kitchen appliances they'd registered for, the framed photos of a relationship that never existed, she'd left behind, burned it all, metaphorically speaking. The penthouse was exactly what she'd expected, minimalist to the point of severe, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking downtown San Francisco, black leather furniture, chrome and glass surfaces that reflected light like knife edges. No photographs, no personal items, no evidence that anyone actually lived here. It looked like a very expensive tomb. "Your room is down the hall." Junyoung emerged from what she assumed was his office. He'd ditched the suit jacket, sleeves rolled up, tattoos on full display. Emily blinked. "My room? Did you think we'd share?" His expression didn't change. "This is a business arrangement, Dr. Davis, not a romance." She should have felt relieved. Instead, she felt something more complicated. "Right." Emily grabbed the nearest suitcase. "Business." He watched her struggle with it for exactly 3 seconds before taking it from her hands. "This way." She followed him down a hallway lined with abstract art that probably cost more than her PhD. He opened a door to a bedroom that was bigger than her old apartment. King bed, private bathroom, a desk facing windows that overlooked the Bay Bridge. It was beautiful and impersonal, and absolutely perfect for someone who didn't plan to stay. Junyoung set her suitcase down. "We need to establish parameters." "Parameters." Emily crossed her arms. "You mean rules. Terms of engagement." He leaned against the doorframe. "You're living in my space, working alongside my organization. This only functions if we're clear about boundaries." Emily's scientist brain appreciated the logic. Her emotional side wanted to throw something at his perfectly calm face. "Fine." She sat on the edge of the bed. "Let's hear your terms." "Full transparency about my business operations." Junyoung counted on his fingers. "You'll have access to my financial records, meeting schedules, and business contacts. If you're going to be associated with me, you need to understand exactly what that means." "You're actually volunteering to tell me about your criminal empire?" "I prefer the term alternative corporate structure." His mouth almost smiled. "But yes, no secrets about what I do or who I work with." Emily processed this. Raymond had hidden everything. Every deal, every investor meeting, every conversation that mattered. Junyoung was offering her the opposite. Complete transparency from a man who specialized in shadows. "What else?" she asked. "Your professional autonomy is absolute." He pushed off the doorframe. "Your research, your patents, your career decisions, entirely yours. I won't touch your work. Won't offer suggestions. Won't even ask about it unless you volunteer the information." "Why?" "Because Raymond tried to own you." Junyoung's eyes locked on hers. "I'm not interested in ownership. I'm interested in partnership." The word hung between them. Partnership. Not marriage, not romance, not even friendship. Cold, calculated alliance. "And the third term?" Emily prompted. "No pretense about emotions." His voice was flat, clinical. "We're not in love. We won't be in love. This arrangement serves a mutual purpose, destroying Raymond and protecting your work. When that purpose is fulfilled, we dissolve the marriage. No drama, no expectations, no delusions about what this is." Emily stood, walked to the windows. The city sprawled below them. Millions of people living normal lives. Getting married for normal reasons. She'd married a mafia boss for revenge. "I have terms too," she said without turning around. "I expected you would." "I want weekly financial reports, not summaries. Actual documentation of where your money comes from and where it goes." She watched his reflection in the glass. "If I'm going to be Mrs. Choi, I need to know exactly what I'm complicit in." He nodded once. "Agreed." "I want a separate workspace, lab equipment, access to research databases." Emily turned to face him. "I'm not giving up my career because Raymond tried to steal it. I'm rebuilding, here, on my terms. I'll have a lab set up by tomorrow." No hesitation. "What else?" "If your business puts me in danger, I want 24 hours notice before the threat arrives." She held his gaze. "You said Raymond's father hired people like you. I need to know when I should be afraid." Something shifted in Junyoung's expression, almost like respect. "You'll know everything I know, the moment I know it." Emily nodded. "Then we have an agreement." She extended her hand. Professional, clean, no romance. Junyoung crossed the room. His hand engulfed hers, warm, calloused, covered in ink that told stories she didn't know yet. "Welcome home, Dr. Davis." The word home felt wrong. This wasn't home. It was a fortress, a strategy, a calculated risk. But it was hers now, at least temporarily. Junyoung released her hand, started to leave. "Wait!" Emily's voice stopped him at the door. "One more thing." He turned, waiting. What happens if one of us breaks the rules? She needed to know, needed the boundaries crystal clear. What if emotions get involved? What if this becomes something other than business? Junyoung's face was unreadable. "Then we renegotiate." His voice was soft, dangerous. "But that won't happen, Dr. Davis. I don't do emotions. And you just got out of a relationship built on lies." He was right, obviously right. Emily had no interest in feelings, no capacity for trust, no room in her life for anything except reclaiming what Raymond had stolen. "Good," she said. "Then we understand each other." "Perfectly." He left, closed the door behind him. Emily stood alone in her new bedroom, in her new life, with her new husband who wasn't really her husband. Her phone buzzed. Text from Keisha. "Call me right now. What the actual hell?" Emily. Another text. Her mother. "We need to talk about this situation." 3 missed calls from colleagues at her old company. 5 emails from reporters wanting interviews about the wedding disaster. And 1 message from an unknown number. "You made a mistake, Dr. Davis. Raymond Cohen doesn't forget. And neither does his family." Emily's hand shook. She walked back down the hall. Found Junyoung in his office. Floor-to-ceiling screens showing security feeds, financial data, surveillance footage. He looked up, saw her face. "What happened?" She showed him the message. His expression went cold. He took her phone, typed something, handed it back. On the screen, "Tell Raymond that threats are expensive, and his father just cut off his trust fund." "You hacked his accounts?" Emily whispered. "I told you." Junyoung's smile was sharp. "Full transparency. That includes showing you exactly how I fight." He pulled up another screen. Raymond's bank accounts, all frozen. His credit cards, declined. His father's company emails, every single one showing the fallout from the wedding disaster. Investors pulling out. Partners demanding explanations. Lawsuits being filed by the other women he'd defrauded. "This is just the beginning," Junyoung said quietly. "By the time we're done, Raymond Cohen won't have a name left to threaten people with." Emily stared at the screens, at the systematic destruction of a man who'd tried to destroy her. It should have felt good. Instead, it felt like standing at the edge of something she couldn't take back. "Are you having second thoughts?" Junyoung asked. Emily thought about Raymond's voice through the door, the Davis acquisition, thought about 3 years of lies, thought about the research that was hers and only hers. "No," she said, "I'm having first thoughts about what comes after the revenge." Junyoung's eyes met hers, dark and honest and absolutely lethal. "After the revenge, Dr. Davis, you get to decide who you want to be. Raymond tried to make you a victim." He gestured at the screens. "I'm offering you the chance to become something much more dangerous." "What's that?" His smile was beautiful and terrible. "Free." Raymond filed his claim at 9:47 a.m. Emily found out at 9:48. She was in her new lab. Junyoung had delivered on his promise within 18 hours when her phone exploded with notifications. Patent office alerts, legal filings, emergency messages from her attorney. Raymond was claiming ownership of her solid-state battery prototype, the one that could revolutionize renewable energy storage. The one worth approximately $400 million in projected licensing fees. He'd filed through Cohen Ventures, listed himself as primary inventor, cited their collaborative research relationship as evidence of joint ownership. It was elegant, strategic, and completely fraudulent. Emily's hands shook as she read the filing. Then they stopped shaking. She called June Young. He answered on the first ring. I saw. How fast can you get me into the Patent and Trademark Office's digital filing system? A pause. Legally or illegally? Which one is faster? I like how you think, Dr. Davis. She heard keyboard clicks through the phone. Give me 4 minutes. Emily pulled up her research documentation while she waited. Lab notebooks, signed and dated entries going back 5 years, prototype iterations, failed experiments. The entire paper trail showing this work was hers alone. Raymond had never even seen her laboratory. Her laptop pinged. New window opened. USPTO backend system, full access. You're in, June Young said. But Emily, whatever you're about to do, make it count. This level of access leaves fingerprints. Then we better make sure those fingerprints destroy him. She started typing. First, she filed a counterclaim. Primary inventor, Dr. Emily Davis. Supporting documentation, 48 separate patent filings, all predating her relationship with Raymond Cohen by minimum 2 years. Then she got creative. She pulled Raymond's filing apart piece by piece. Every technical specification he'd claimed to develop, every innovation he'd attributed to himself. And she proved he was lying. The prototype's core architecture used a lithium ceramic composite she'd developed at MIT 3 years before meeting Raymond. Her dissertation committee had the documentation. Her advisors had signed affidavits. The thermal management system referenced equations from her published paper in Nature Energy. First author, E. Davis, no co-authors. The manufacturing process required understanding of molecular dynamics that Raymond, with his Stanford MBA and zero engineering background, couldn't possibly possess. She documented everything. Then she filed an emergency injunction request with the federal court. Grounds: fraud, intellectual property theft, and abuse of personal relationship for commercial gain. She attached the recording from the rehearsal dinner. Raymond's voice, the Davis acquisition closes tomorrow. 9 minutes after Raymond filed his claim, Emily had him trapped. Her phone rang, unknown number. She answered. Dr. Davis. You're making this very difficult. Raymond's voice was ice. Withdraw your counterclaim, now. Or what? Emily's heart pounded, but her voice stayed steady. You'll threaten me? You already did that. You'll sue me? I have better lawyers. You'll ruin my reputation? You already tried. I will bury you in legal fees until you have nothing left. Raymond, you're not listening. Emily smiled at her laptop screen. You already have nothing left. Your father cut you off. Your investors are running. And in approximately, she checked her watch, 6 minutes, every major tech publication is going to receive an anonymous tip about your fraudulent patent filing. Silence. Then, you wouldn't. I already did. She heard something crash on his end. Glass breaking. Raymond losing control. I gave you everything, he snarled. 3 years of my life. 3 years of corporate espionage disguised as courtship. There's a difference. You married a criminal to get back at me. No, Emily's voice went cold. I married someone who's honest about what he is. You pretended to be something you weren't. That's worse. Raymond's breathing was ragged. This isn't over. Yes, it is. You just don't know it yet. She hung up. Her hands were shaking again. Adrenaline, victory, terror. The door to her lab opened. June Young walked in, carrying 2 glasses of whiskey. He handed her one without a word. Emily downed it. The burn helped. How bad is it? she asked. For Raymond? Junyoung pulled up his phone, started scrolling. TechCrunch just published, so did Wired and The Verge. They're calling it the biggest patent fraud attempt in Silicon Valley history. He showed her the headlines. Venture capitalist caught stealing girlfriend's research. Cohen heirs wedding day, fraud exposed Emmett scientist outmaneuvers. Ex-fiancé's IP theft. Emily felt something crack open in her chest. Relief, vindication, power. His legal team is already calling for settlement negotiations, Junyoung continued. They know they can't win. The evidence is overwhelming. But they're going to drag this out, try to minimize damage. Let them try. Emily set down her glass. I have something else. She pulled up a file on her laptop, a spreadsheet, names, dates, email exchanges. What is this? Junyoung leaned closer. I spent last night going through Raymond's computer. Emily's smile was sharp. You're not the only one who can hack. He kept records of every woman he targeted, every relationship he weaponized for business gain. She scrolled down. 12 names, 12 women, all with advanced degrees, all in lucrative fields, all dating Raymond for exactly 18 months to 3 years before mysterious breakups. He's been running this scam for 7 years, Emily whispered. I wasn't the first. I was just the biggest score. Junyoung's expression went dark. We're contacting all of them, he said. It wasn't a question. I already did. Emily pulled up her sent emails. Last night while you were asleep, 10 have responded, 8 want to join a class action lawsuit. 2 are talking to the FBI about securities fraud. Emily, Junyoung looked at her like he was seeing something new. You're not just fighting back, you're burning his entire operation to the ground. He tried to erase me. Her voice didn't waver. I'm making sure no one ever forgets his name, for all the wrong reasons. Her laptop pinged. Email from the federal court. Subject, injunction granted. Emily opened it with shaking hands. The judge had frozen all patent transfers involving her research. Ordered Raymond to cease and desist all claims of ownership. Scheduled a full hearing for fraud allegations within 30 days. We won, she breathed. You won, Junyoung corrected. This was all you. Emily stood, paced the lab, energy coursing through her like electricity. She'd done it, protected her work, exposed Raymond's fraud, started the process of making sure he never did this to anyone else. How does it feel? Junyoung asked quietly. Emily turned to him, this man who'd given her weapons instead of sympathy, who'd offered partnership instead of rescue, who'd believed she was dangerous enough to be worth allying with. It feels like the beginning, she said. Junyoung's phone buzzed. He looked at it. His expression changed. Not fear, worse, calculation. The kind that meant something very bad was about to happen. What? Emily demanded. Michael Cohen just transferred $50 million to an offshore account. Junyoung showed her the screen. And he booked a flight to Seoul. Emily's blood went cold. Why Seoul? Junyoung's eyes met hers. Dark, honest, absolutely serious. Because that's where my enemies are. And he's about to offer them something they've wanted for 20 years. What? His jaw clenched. Me. Chapter 6. The Cohen Counterstrike. The FBI arrived at 6:23 a.m. Emily woke to pounding on the penthouse door and Junyoung already dressed, his face carved from stone. Don't say anything, he told her. Not one word without our lawyer present. She didn't understand until she saw the badges. Federal agents, 8 of them, warrants in hand, for her arrest. Dr. Emily Davis, you're being charged with corporate espionage, theft of trade secrets, and conspiracy to commit wire fraud. The lead agent was a woman in her 40s, no-nonsense expression. You have the right to remain silent. On what grounds? Emily's voice cracked. She was still in pajamas, no coffee, no warning. I haven't stolen anything. Ma'am, please don't make this harder than it needs to be. They put her in handcuffs. Actual handcuffs. Junyoung's hand closed around the lead agent's arm. She gets dressed first, and I'm calling our attorney. Sir, interfere with this arrest, and you'll be charged with obstruction. Then charge me. His voice was ice. But she's not leaving this penthouse in her pajamas. They stared at each other for 5 seconds that felt like hours. The agent nodded once. 2 minutes. We wait outside the bedroom door. Junyoung unlocked the handcuffs himself, led Emily to her room with an agent flanking each side. Inside, door barely closed, his voice dropped to a whisper. This is Michael Cohen. He fabricated evidence, made you look like the criminal. Emily's hand shook as she pulled on jeans. What evidence? I don't know yet, but he's good at this. He's been destroying people for 30 years. Junyoung helped her with her sweater, his movements efficient. Listen to me. Say nothing. Our lawyer meets you at the federal building. I'll handle everything else. They're arresting me, Junyoung. I know, his eyes locked on hers. And I'm going to burn Michael Cohen's empire to ash for it. But right now, you stay calm, stay silent, and trust me. The door opened. Agents flooded back in. They cuffed her again. Tighter this time, led her through the penthouse, into the elevator, through the lobby where early morning residents watched with horrified fascination. Dr. Emily Davis, MIT PhD, 48 patents, being arrested like a common criminal. The media was already there when they exited the building. Cameras, reporters, microphones shoved in her face. Dr. Davis, did you steal research from Cohen Ventures? Were you working with criminal organizations to sell trade secrets? Is it true you married into the Korean Mafia to avoid prosecution? Emily kept her eyes forward, said nothing, but inside she was screaming. At the federal building, they processed her like she was nobody. Fingerprints, mugshot, personal belongings confiscated. She sat in an interrogation room for 2 hours before anyone spoke to her. When the door finally opened, it wasn't her lawyer, it was Raymond. He walked in with 2 FBI agents and a smile that made Emily's skin crawl. Hello, Emily. She said nothing. Junyoung's voice in her head, not one word. Raymond sat across from her, slid a folder across the table. These are emails between you and several of my father's competitors, offering to sell proprietary research for $2 million. He opened the folder. Your email address, your IP signature, your encryption keys. Emily's blood went cold. The emails looked real, her address, her phrasing, technical specifications she'd actually written. I never sent these, she said. Raymond's smile widened. That's what they all say. Mr. Cohen, please. One of the agents gestured for him to leave. Of course. Raymond stood, leaned close to Emily. You wanted to destroy me, sweetheart. But you forgot. My family has been destroying people since before you were born. We're just better at it. He walked out. The door clicked shut. Emily stared at the fabricated emails, her mind racing. Someone had hacked her accounts, planted evidence, built an entire false narrative that made her look like exactly what Raymond claimed, a corporate spy selling secrets. The door opened again. This time it was her lawyer, Margaret Chen, 60 years old, sharper than broken glass and currently furious. Don't say anything else. We're leaving. They have emails, fabricated emails. I've already filed motions to suppress. Michael Cohen made a mistake. Margaret's smile was vicious. He used an IP address registered to one of his shell companies to create the fake correspondence. We can prove it. Emily's heart kicked. How? Because your husband's tech team has been monitoring all Cohen Ventures' digital activity since your wedding. Margaret pulled out her laptop. Every keystroke, every file transfer, every falsified document, it's all here. She showed Emily the evidence. Michael Cohen's assistant creating fake email accounts, Raymond's business partner doctoring technical documents, a coordinated conspiracy to frame Emily for crimes she didn't commit. All captured, time-stamped, legally inadmissible but devastatingly public. "We're about to turn the hunters into the hunted," Margaret said. 30 minutes later, Emily walked out of the federal building, charges dropped, arrest expunged, and a federal investigation opened into Cohen Ventures for evidence tampering, conspiracy, and abuse of law enforcement resources. Jun Young waited outside. The moment Emily cleared the doors, he pulled her against his chest, hard, protective. She felt him shaking. This man who showed no emotion, who built his life on control, was shaking. "I'm okay," she whispered. "They put you in handcuffs." His voice was barely controlled rage. "They arrested you in our home." "Jun Young, Michael Cohen just made the last mistake of his life." He pulled back, looked at her with eyes that promised violence. "What are you going to do?" Emily asked. "What I should have done 20 years ago." He took her hand. "I'm going to Seoul, and I'm ending this." Emily's stomach dropped. "The enemies your father contacted are expecting him to deliver me on a silver platter. Instead, I'm going to remind them why they fear the Choi name." His thumb traced her knuckles. "But I need you to stay here, safe. Protected." "Absolutely not." Emily's voice was steel. "They arrested me, fabricated evidence against me, tried to destroy my life. Which is exactly why I'm going with you." She stepped closer. "You said this was a partnership. That means we fight together." "Emily, these people will kill you without hesitation. So will the Cohens. At least in Seoul, I'll see it coming." Jun Young's jaw clenched. She watched him calculate risks, evaluate options. Finally, "You do exactly what I say, when I say it. No arguments. No promises." Something that might have been respect flickered across his face. "You're going to get us both killed, Dr. Davis. Or we're going to get justice." Emily's smile was sharp. "Either way, the Cohens lose." His phone buzzed. He looked at it. His expression went dark. "What now?" Emily demanded. "Raymond just posted bail for his father." Jun Young showed her the screen. "And they both booked the same flight to Seoul." "When?" "Tonight. Same flight we're on." Emily felt ice slide down her spine. 12 hours in the air with the men trying to destroy them. "This is a trap," she whispered. "Yes," Jun Young's eyes met hers. "But it's our trap too. They're walking into my territory. My rules." He pulled her close again. His next words were soft, deadly. "By the time we land in Seoul, the Cohens will understand what happens when you threaten a Choi." Emily looked up at this man she'd married for revenge. This dangerous, damaged, brilliant man who'd given her weapons when everyone else offered pity. "Then let's go to war," she said. His smile was beautiful and terrible. "Welcome to my world, Dr. Davis." They made it 6 hours into Seoul before someone tried to kill Emily. She was in the hotel suite bathroom when the window exploded. Glass shattered inward. A black cylinder rolled across the marble floor. Flash grenade. Emily's scientist brain identified it in the half-second before Jun Young tackled her into the bathtub. The explosion was sound and light and pressure that turned the world white. Then darkness, smoke, and gunfire. Jun Young's body covered hers completely. She felt his heart hammering against her back, felt the gun he'd pulled from somewhere materialize in his hand. "Stay down," he growled. "Don't move. Don't breathe loud." Footsteps in the suite, multiple, speaking rapid Korean. Jun Young's response was 3 calculated gunshots, silence, then more footsteps, running away. He didn't move for 30 seconds. Finally, "We need to go, now." Emily's ears were ringing, her hands shook, but she climbed out of the tub and followed him through the smoke-filled suite. Three men lay motionless. Jun-young didn't look at them. He grabbed Emily's hand and pulled her into the hallway. Emergency stairs, down 12 flights. His phone pressed to his ear, speaking Korean so fast Emily couldn't track it. A black SUV screeched to a stop outside the service entrance. Jun-young shoved her inside. The vehicle was moving before her door even closed. "What the hell was that?" Emily's voice came out strangled. "The Bake Syndicate." Jun-young reloaded his gun with mechanical precision. Michael Cohen made contact. Offered them $20 million and my location in exchange for eliminating the threat I posed to his son. "They were trying to kill you." "No." His eyes met hers, dark, honest. "They were trying to take you. Use you as leverage. Kill me after I gave them what they wanted to get you back." Emily's stomach turned. "How do you know?" "Because that's what I would do." The SUV took a corner hard enough to slam Emily against the door. She caught herself, looked at Jun-young. This man she'd married, this criminal, this weapon, this person who just killed 3 people without hesitation to protect her. "Where are we going?" she asked. "Somewhere safe while I handle this." "Define handle." "You don't want to know." "Yes, I do." Emily's voice was steady despite the adrenaline screaming through her system. "Full transparency." "That was the deal." Jun-young's jaw clenched. "I'm going to the Beck family compound. I'm going to give them a choice. Walk away from Michael Cohen's deal, or I dismantle their organization piece by piece." "That's suicide." "That's negotiation." His smile had no warmth. "I don't lose negotiations." The SUV pulled up to a nondescript building in Gangnam. Luxury apartments, security gates, the kind of place where questions weren't asked. "You stay here." Jun-young opened the door. "My men will protect you. I'll be back in 4 hours." "Or you'll be dead in 4 hours. Then you get on a plane back to San Francisco and live your life." He said it like he was discussing the weather. "The patents are secure. The evidence against Raymond is public. You've already won." Emily stared at him. This man offering her an exit, freedom, safety. Everything she'd wanted when she agreed to this arrangement. "No," she said. Jun-young blinked. "Excuse me?" "I said no." Emily's hands were still shaking, but her voice wasn't. "I'm not hiding while you get yourself killed. We're partners. That means we face this together." "Emily, this isn't patent law. These people will torture you for information before they kill you." "Then teach me to shoot." Dead silence in the SUV. Jun-young stared at her like she'd grown a second head. "You're serious?" "Michael Cohen got me arrested in my own home. Raymond tried to erase my entire career. And now a Korean crime syndicate just tried to kidnap me." Emily leaned forward. "So yes, I'm serious. You want to negotiate? I'm coming with you. You want to fight? I'm fighting beside you. You're a scientist. I'm a lot of things." Her smile was sharp. "You helped me remember that." Jun-young studied her face, looking for cracks, for fear, for any sign she didn't mean it. He found none. "If I bring you into this world, there's no going back," he said quietly. "You'll see things, do things, become someone you might not recognize." "Raymond already turned me into someone I don't recognize." Emily held his gaze. "At least this version fights back." Something shifted in Jun-young's expression. Not quite respect, deeper than that. Recognition, like he was seeing her for the first time. 4 hours of training, he said. "Then you stay in the car during negotiations. If shooting starts, you follow my lead exactly." "Deal." He opened a compartment under the seat, pulled out a compact Glock 19, placed it in her hands. "This is going to change you, Dr. Davis." Emily felt the weight of the gun. Cold metal, potential violence, power. "Good," she said. "I'm tired of being the victim." Jun-young's smile was dangerous. "Then let's turn you into a predator." The next 4 hours were the most intense of Emily's life. A private shooting range in the basement, Junyoung's hands positioning her grip, his voice in her ear explaining breath control, center mass, follow-through. She fired 60 rounds, hit the target 42 times. "You're a natural," he said. Not a compliment, an observation. Emily stared at the paper target downrange. Human silhouette, her bullet holes clustered around the chest. She should have felt horrified. Instead, she felt capable. "What happens if the Becks don't negotiate?" she asked. "Then we go to war." Junyoung reloaded her weapon. "The Beck family controls shipping and real estate. I control tech and information. Mutually assured destruction if we fight openly. But Michael Cohen offered them something they've wanted for years, access to American corporate networks through his venture capital connections." His face was stone. "That's worth risking war." Emily's mind raced. "What if we offer them something better?" "There's nothing better than me." Emily turned to face him. "My patents, my research, not to steal, to license. Legitimate business with a better return than whatever Michael's promising." Junyoung went still. "You'd give the Korean Mafia access to your renewable energy technology?" "I'd give them a profitable legal alternative to kidnapping scientists." Emily's smile was calculating. 20-year licensing agreement. They distribute my battery tech throughout Asia. I get royalties. They get legitimate income that's harder to prosecute. Everyone wins except Michael Cohen. "Emily," Junyoung's voice was soft, dangerous. "You're thinking like one of us now." "Maybe I always was." She ejected the magazine from her Glock, reloaded it with smooth efficiency. "I just needed the right motivation." His phone buzzed. He looked at it. His expression went cold. "The Becks moved the meeting. Wants it now. At their compound." He showed her the message. "They know we're coming. This is an ambush." "Then we don't go." "If we don't go, they hunt us through Seoul until they find us. Better to face them on their terms than run." Junyoung holstered his weapon. "Last chance to stay behind." Emily checked her gun. Remembered the flash grenade, the gunfire, the 3 dead men. Remembered Raymond's voice. "She actually thinks I love her." Remembered being led away in handcuffs while cameras flashed. "I'm done running," she said. "Let's go negotiate." The drive to the Beck compound took 20 minutes. 20 minutes for Emily to question every decision that led to this moment. The SUV pulled through gates that looked like they could stop a tank. Junyoung's hand found hers in the darkness. "If this goes wrong," he said quietly, "I'm sorry I dragged you into my war." Emily squeezed his hand. "You didn't drag me. I chose this." She met his eyes. "And I'd choose it again." His expression shifted. Something vulnerable flickered across his face. Then the doors opened. 10 armed men surrounded the vehicle. At the center stood an older Korean man in an expensive suit, Mr. Beck, head of the syndicate that wanted them dead. He smiled. "Mr. Choi, I've been waiting 30 years to meet you." His eyes slid to Emily. "And you brought a gift. How thoughtful." Emily negotiated their way out of the Beck compound with a licensing deal and a loaded gun in her lap. 24 hours later, she was back in San Francisco orchestrating Raymond's complete destruction. The video call connected at 9 a.m. sharp. 12 faces filled her screen. 12 women, all brilliant, all betrayed. Dr. Sarah Kim, biotech, Stanford PhD, dated Raymond for 2 years before he stole her gene therapy research. Jessica Moore, financial analyst, MIT MBA. Raymond took her algorithmic trading software and sold it to hedge funds. Priya Sharma, software engineer, Caltech graduate. Her machine learning code became the backbone of Cohen Ventures' portfolio, without her name anywhere on it. 10 more stories, 10 more thefts, 10 more women who'd loved a man who saw them as inventory. "Thank you for coming," Emily said. Her voice was steady despite the rage burning in her chest. I know some of you want nothing to do with this, want to move on and forget Raymond Cohen exists. Sarah spoke first. I tried forgetting. For 3 years. It didn't work. He's still out there, Jessica added, still doing this to other women. Not after today. Emily pulled up a document, shared her screen. This is a joint SEC filing, all 12 of us, documenting a pattern of intellectual property theft, fraud, and abuse of personal relationships for commercial gain spanning 7 years. Priya leaned forward. They'll bury this. The Cohens have too much money, too many connections. They did have those things. Emily switched screens. Until I married someone with better connections. She showed them June Young's investigation. Bank records, email chains, documented evidence of Michael Cohen's entire operation. Not just the women, everything. Shell companies hiding assets, fraudulent patent transfers, bribed officials, blackmail material, 30 years of white-collar crime wrapped in venture capital legitimacy. Holy shit, Sarah whispered. This goes to the SEC in 4 hours, Emily continued. But I wanted you all to know first. This isn't just about Raymond anymore. This is about making sure no one else has to lose years of their life to men like him. What do you need from us? Jessica asked. Emily felt something crack open in her chest. Solidarity. Sisterhood, power. Your testimony, on record, for TechCrunch. She'd arranged it all. The journalist was already waiting. A woman who'd spent her career exposing Silicon Valley's predatory behavior. For the next 3 hours, Emily watched these brilliant, damaged, furious women tell their stories. Sarah described how Raymond had courted her at a biotechnology conference, how he'd asked about her research with such genuine interest, how she'd shared everything, her lab notes, her funding proposals, her dreams of curing genetic diseases, how he'd filed patents on her work 6 months before proposing, how the engagement ring came with legal documents she'd been too in love to read carefully, how he'd left her the day after she signed. Jessica's story was almost identical. Different field, same predatory pattern. Priya broke down halfway through her testimony. I thought I was special. I thought he loved me for my mind. He did love your mind, Emily said quietly, just not the way you deserved. By noon, they had 12 testimonies, 12 documented cases, 12 brilliant women whose work had been stolen by a man who treated genius like a commodity. Emily sent everything to TechCrunch at 12:47 p.m. The article went live at 2:15 p.m. The Cohen Acquisition: How a Silicon Valley Dynasty Built Its Fortune on Stolen Genius. The response was immediate and catastrophic. Emily's phone exploded with notifications. So did her laptop. The story was everywhere within minutes. Twitter, LinkedIn, every major tech publication picking it up. Investors demanding explanations, board members resigning. Companies distancing themselves from Cohen Ventures like it was radioactive. Her doorbell rang at 3 p.m. Emily checked the security camera, expected reporters, found the other 11 women standing in her hallway instead. She opened the door. Sarah spoke first. We decided we wanted to be here, together, when it all comes down. Emily let them in. Watched these strangers who weren't strangers fill her penthouse. June Young's security team looked confused but didn't interfere. They gathered around Emily's laptop, watched the fallout in real time. Cohen Ventures' stock price crashed. Trading halted twice. Raymond's social media accounts went dark. Michael Cohen released a statement calling the accusations baseless and defamatory. Then the SEC announced a formal investigation. Then the FBI opened a criminal inquiry. Then 3 more women came forward. Women Emily hadn't even known about. It's working, Priya whispered. We're actually winning. Jessica pulled up Raymond's LinkedIn, watched his connection count drop. Hundreds of people distancing themselves by the minute. "He's being erased," she said. "Everything he tried to do to us, we're doing to him." Emily's phone rang. Unknown number. She answered on speaker. "You destroyed me." Raymond's voice was broken, slurred. He'd been drinking. "Everything I built, gone, because you couldn't handle a breakup like an adult." 12 women in Emily's living room. 12 brilliant minds. 12 survivors. Sarah grabbed the phone from Emily's hand. "This is Dr. Sarah Kim. You stole 2 years of my gene therapy research. Remember me?" Silence on the other end. Jessica took the phone. "Jessica Moore. You sold my trading algorithms to your hedge fund buddies for $8 million. I got nothing. Remember?" They passed the phone around. 12 women, 12 testimonies, 12 reminders that Raymond Cohen had finally met consequences. When the phone came back to Emily, Raymond was sobbing. "I loved you," he choked out. "No." Emily's voice was ice. "You loved what I could give you. There's a difference." She hung up, blocked the number, turned back to the women who'd given her this moment. "What happens now?" Priya asked. Emily pulled up a new document, Articles of Incorporation, a non-profit organization. "We make sure this never happens to anyone else." She showed them the filing. "Legal support for women in STEM whose work has been stolen. Free patent attorneys. Resources for fighting intellectual property theft." Sarah read the name at the top of the document. The Davis Foundation. "The Davis Kim Moore Sharma Foundation," Emily corrected. "All of us, equal partners." She watched understanding dawn across 12 faces. This wasn't just revenge. This was revolution. "I'm in," Sarah said immediately. "Same," Jessica added. One by one, they agreed. 12 women who'd been victimized. Now 12 women who'd make sure others never would be. Emily's laptop pinged. Email from the SEC. They wanted her testimony next week. Another email, FBI requesting an interview. A third email that made Emily's blood run cold. From Michael Cohen's attorney. Subject, settlement offer. She opened it. Michael was offering $50 million, full admission of wrongdoing, permanent restraining order against Raymond. In exchange for Emily's silence about everything else she'd discovered. The room went quiet as Emily read it aloud. "That's enough money to fund the foundation for decades," Priya said carefully. "It's also letting him walk away," Sarah countered, "keeping all the other crimes buried." Jessica looked at Emily. "Your call. You're the one who started this." Emily stared at the number. $50 million. Justice for 12 women. But not justice for everyone Michael Cohen had destroyed. Not justice for the son he'd abandoned in Seoul. Not justice for 30 years of corruption. She closed the laptop. "I'm not taking the deal." "Emily," Sarah started, "we don't need his money." Emily's smile was sharp. "We have something better. We have the truth. And we have each other." She pulled up her email, started typing. A response to Michael Cohen's attorney, short, brutal, final. "Mr. Cohen's offer is rejected. See you in federal court." Hit send. 12 women watched the email disappear. Then Sarah started clapping. Jessica joined her. Priya, the others, until all 12 women were on their feet, applauding. Not for revenge, for refusing to be silenced. Emily's phone buzzed. Text from June Young. "The Backs just terminated their agreement with Michael. He's finished in Seoul." Another text. "You're incredible." Emily smiled at her phone. Then the penthouse door opened. June Young walked in, stopped when he saw 12 women staring at him. "Am I interrupting?" "No," Emily said. "You're just in time to meet the women who helped me burn down an empire." He looked at the faces around the room, understood immediately what this was. "Then I should thank you," he said to them. "You helped save someone who's become very important to me." Emily's heart kicked. The room went silent. Jun Young's eyes met hers across the space, Not business, not partnership, something neither of them had planned for. Sarah cleared her throat. We should probably go. No, Emily started, but they were already gathering their things. Knowing, understanding, 12 women who'd learned to read the signs of something real. The door closed behind them. Emily and Jun Young stood alone in the penthouse. Someone who's become very important to you? Emily's voice shook. We should talk about that. Jun Young moved closer. Because our arrangement just became complicated. How complicated? His hand found her face, thumb tracing her cheekbone. I'm in love with you, Doctor. Davis? Emily's world tilted. That wasn't part of the deal. I know. His smile was soft, honest, terrified. But somewhere between watching you negotiate with the Korean Mafia and orchestrating the destruction of a venture capital empire, I forgot this was supposed to be fake. Emily couldn't breathe. Jun Young. His phone rang. He ignored it. It rang again. Urgent. He cursed. Answered. What? His face went white. When? Pause. How many? Pause. I'm on my way. He hung up. Looked at Emily with eyes full of dread. Raymond just walked into Cohen Ventures headquarters with a gun. Raymond didn't shoot anyone. He stood in the Cohen Ventures lobby for 47 minutes with a gun in his hand and his empire burning around him. Then he put the barrel under his chin. Emily watched it happen on the newsfeed from Jun Young's car. Police negotiators, SWAT teams, cameras everywhere. Raymond's last stand broadcast to millions. Don't watch this, Jun Young said quietly. But Emily couldn't look away. This was the man who'd stolen 3 years of her life, who'd tried to erase her from her own work, who'd turned love into a transaction. And now he was broken, destroyed by his own choices. A negotiator talked him down after an hour. Raymond dropped the gun, collapsed, got tackled by 6 officers and dragged away in handcuffs. Emily felt nothing. Not satisfaction, not pity, nothing. Just emptiness where Raymond Cohen used to live in her head. It's over, Jun Young said. Emily turned off her phone. Is it? They sat in silence as his driver navigated through San Francisco traffic, heading back to the penthouse, to the life they'd built on revenge and strategy. To whatever came next. You said you love me, Emily said finally. Jun Young's jaw tightened. I did. Did you mean it? Or was that part of the performance? Emily, because I need to know. She turned to face him. I need to know if any of this was real. His eyes met hers, dark, honest, vulnerable in a way she'd never seen. I meant every word. His voice was rough. And I've spent the last 3 hours trying to figure out when it happened. When you stopped being a strategic asset and became the person I can't imagine my life without. Emily's heart hammered. We had rules, no emotions, no pretense. I broke every rule. Jun Young's smile was bitter. The man who built an empire on control, undone by a scientist in a wedding veil who stumbled into the wrong suite. That wasn't an accident, Emily's voice shook. I've been thinking about it. The drugged champagne, the wrong room. What if some part of me knew? What if I chose your door because I was already looking for a way out? Or what if it was just fate being cruel? He reached for her hand, giving us something real in the middle of all this calculated violence. Their fingers interlaced. Emily looked at their hands, his tattoos, her scars from lab accidents, 2 people who'd learned to weaponize themselves. What happens now? She asked. The arrangement is over. Raymond's destroyed. My patents are secure. The foundation is funded. We got everything we wanted. Except each other. Jun Young's thumb traced her knuckles. The deal was we walk away when it's done. No strings, no obligations. That was the deal. Do you want to walk away, Emily? She thought about the past 3 weeks. The Black Wedding, patent warfare, soul, learning to shoot, 12 women in her living room, revolution and revenge, and something that felt dangerously close to home. "I don't know who I am anymore," she whispered. "I came to you as Dr. Emily Davis, MIT graduate, scientist, victim. Now I'm someone who negotiates with crime syndicates, who orchestrates the destruction of billion-dollar empires, who carries a gun. You're still you," Junyoung pulled her closer. "Just the version of you that refuses to be small, that fights back, that turns pain into power. That's who you made me. No." His voice was fierce. "That's who you always were. I just gave you permission to stop apologizing for it." Emily felt tears burning. "I'm supposed to be the good guy in this story. The wronged woman who gets justice and rides off into the sunset. Maybe there are no good guys." Junyoung cupped her face. "Maybe there's just people trying to survive, to protect what matters, to build something real in a world that rewards lies. You're a criminal, and you're in love with one." His smile was soft, certain. "I can see it in your eyes, Emily. You're terrified because you feel it too." She was crying now. "This is insane. Completely. We barely know each other. I know you're brilliant and fierce and capable of destroying anyone who underestimates you." His thumb wiped away her tears. "I know you're the first person I think about when I wake up, the last person I want to see before I sleep, the only person I've ever trusted with the truth of what I am. What if we're just trauma bonding? What if this isn't real? Then we figure it out." Junyoung's forehead touched hers. "Together. No more arrangements, no more deals. Just two people who found each other in the worst possible way and decided it was worth fighting for." Emily's breath hitched. "I'm scared." "Good. So am I." He pulled back to look at her. "Real love is terrifying. It's giving someone the power to destroy you and trusting they won't. After Raymond, after my father, after everything, that's the hardest thing either of us could do. What if I hurt you? What if you don't?" His smile was beautiful. "What if we're actually good for each other? What if the universe put you in my suite that night because we needed each other?" Emily laughed through her tears. "That's very romantic for a mafia boss. I contain multitudes." Junyoung kissed her forehead, soft, reverent. "So, Dr. Emily Davis, will you marry me? Again? For real this time?" "We're already married. That was a contract. This is a choice." He pulled a ring from his pocket. Not flashy, not expensive, a simple band with a small diamond. "Choose me. Choose us. Choose this messy, complicated, probably doomed but maybe beautiful thing we've built." Emily stared at the ring, then at the man holding it. This dangerous, damaged, brilliant man who'd given her weapons instead of sympathy, who'd stood beside her instead of protecting her, who'd shown her the darkest parts of himself and trusted her not to run. "I have conditions," she said. Junyoung's eyes lit up. "Of course you do. No more secrets about anything. Your business, your past, your enemies. I want to know everything." "Done. I keep working. The foundation, my research, my career. I'm not giving up who I am. I'd never ask you to. And you get therapy." Emily's voice was firm. "Real therapy. For the abandonment and the trauma and whatever made you think violence was the only language worth speaking." Junyoung blinked. "Therapy. Non-negotiable." She crossed her arms. "I'm not building a life with someone who won't do the work to heal." For a moment, he just stared at her. Then he laughed. Real laughter that transformed his entire face. "You're demanding I go to therapy as a condition of marriage." "Yes. Most people would demand I go legitimate. Leave the criminal empire." "I'm not most people." Emily's smile was sharp. "And I'm realistic. You can't just walk away from what you've built, but you can be healthier while you run it." Junyoung shook his head in wonder. "You're extraordinary." "So is that a yes?" "On one condition of my own." He held up the ring. You stop calling this a mistake. Stop thinking you fell into my world by accident. We found each other, Emily, however it happened. Own that. She thought about the blurred hallway, the wrong door, the choice that changed everything. Maybe it wasn't fate. Maybe it wasn't an accident. Maybe it was just Emily's subconscious knowing she deserved better than Raymond's lies. Okay, she said. I choose this. I choose you. I choose us. Junyoung slipped the ring onto her finger. It fit perfectly. He kissed her then. Not calculated, not strategic, just honest and deep and full of promise. When they pulled apart, Emily was smiling. So what now? We ride off into the sunset? Better. Junyoung's grin was wicked. We build an empire. Your foundation expanding globally. My connections going legitimate. Two people who refuse to play by anyone else's rules. That sounds exhausting. That sounds like us. The car pulled up to the penthouse. Their home. For real this time. Emily looked at the building, then at her husband, her actual husband. I'm still going to drive you crazy, she warned. I'm counting on it. Junyoung opened the car door, extended his hand. Ready, Mrs. Choi? Emily took his hand, stepped out of the car, into a life she'd never planned, with a man she'd never expected, building something real from the wreckage of something false. Ready, she said. And for the first time since Raymond's voice had shattered her world, Emily Davis felt completely, terrifyingly, beautifully free. 6 months later, the Davis Kim Moore Sharma Foundation opened its doors in San Francisco. 12 founding members, hundreds of women seeking help, millions in funding. Raymond Cohen was serving 3 years for fraud and attempted extortion. Michael Cohen's venture capital empire was under federal receivership. And Emily stood at the foundation's opening gala wearing a white dress, this time for celebration, not performance, with Junyoung beside her. You did it, he murmured. We did it. Emily squeezed his hand. All of us. Her phone buzzed. Text from Sarah Kim. New case just came in. Woman in Boston. Biotech theft. Sound familiar? Emily looked at Junyoung. I have to take this. Go. He kissed her temple. Save the world, Dr. Davis. I'll be here when you're done. She walked away to make the call, to help another woman fight back, to turn another victim into a warrior. Because that's what Emily Davis did now. She built empires from ashes, and she never, ever apologized for being dangerous. Sometimes when something feels wrong, it is wrong. Emily ignored red flags because she wanted the fairy tale. Your gut knows before your heart accepts it. Sometimes your worth isn't defined by someone else's treatment. Raymond tried to reduce Emily to an acquisition. She proved her value by reclaiming her power. Never let anyone make you smaller. Sometimes revenge without purpose is empty. Emily didn't just destroy Raymond, she built something meaningful. The foundation helps others. Real victory creates lasting change. Sometimes vulnerability is strength, not weakness. Emily's transformation came from refusing to hide. She faced her pain, her rage, her fear. That honesty made her dangerous. Sometimes the right partner amplifies you, not diminishes you. Raymond wanted to own Emily's brilliance. Junyoung wanted to weaponize it, in her favor. Real love makes you more yourself, not less. Sometimes the wrong door leads to the right place. Life's biggest mistakes can become your greatest opportunities. Emily's accident saved her from a catastrophic marriage. Sometimes healing isn't linear, and that's okay. From victim to warrior to lover to revolutionary. Emily didn't follow a neat path. She stumbled, fought, and chose herself repeatedly. Sometimes community is power. 12 women standing together destroyed what one man built over decades. Never underestimate the strength of solidarity. Thank you for watching Emily's journey from betrayed bride to unstoppable force. Remember, You're never too broken to rebuild, never too damaged to be dangerous, and never too late to choose yourself. If this story resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. See you in the next video, where we explore another story of transformation, revenge, and becoming who you were always meant to be. Until then, stay dangerous, stay brilliant, stay you.